This is not the video that I thought I'd be making, and certainly not the one I'd hoped I'd be making. G'day, I'm Kevin. I've retired from work in Australia and am living the dream. Here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, the journey continues. This is 52 weeks. I've moved inside the moat for a little while. I decided to move out of my apartment because the water ran out. They were having trouble getting the water through to our area. We had some in the tank on the top of our building, but it ran out last night, so I've moved into the moated city. Well, I've got 4 days at the moment, but we'll see how we go. We're at the end of the second major flood in Chiang Mai in 2 weeks, and this one was a beauty. It was peaked at 5.3 or thereabouts, and was pretty widespread. The waters are receding at the moment, but there's a fair bit of traffic chaos in the areas where the flood was, because there's stacks of mud on the roads. We've got water tankers queued up near the moat to take the water out and take it for the streets to be cleaned, so they're gradually working their way through that. But part of the problem is the cleanup's underway, but in many areas where there were floods, there's actually no water supply at the moment. Something happened towards the end of the flooding which cut the water off to a lot of areas, and then working on getting it back. So as I say, I decided to move into inside the moat where they had water. Yeah, but anyway, that's a very long story. So why don't we go back to when I returned home to my apartment after the first flood. Okay, I am home after my flood sabbatical, and it's nice to be here. The river is still a little high, and the good news is that they're predicting storms for Chiang Mai for the next 4 days. So who knows, there might be more adventures yet. It is 4 days since I returned home from my little flood vacation, and I have been watching the river rise and fall. It's been kind of varying between high normal and a little bit over high normal, and as I mentioned, there were 4 days of storms predicted. The first 3 days there was a little bit of rain overnight in the city. Last night there was a fair bit of heavy rain, which was the final day of the 4 days, and I thought we might have been able to get away with it. But as you can see, the water is rising, the levels are high. Got a message from my condo manager saying that they were expecting a peak to come through at about 2 AM tomorrow morning, which is predicted to be a little bit higher than the peak they got last time, but not as high as what they predicted last time. So may not be too bad. They are warning that there may be some flooding in our car park on our condo building. And they are doing some sandbagging around the entranceways just to make sure, I think. The river level is apparently rising at 10 centimetres an hour at the moment. Doesn't look to be flowing quite as fast as it was when it flooded a few days back, probably a week back now, but it is still rising steadily, obviously. Yeah, so I might be about to have another flood in central Chiang Mai. I've seen some video from some of the outer lying suburbs that looks like there's a bit of water cutting roads and things out there, so here we go again, I guess. There is a reasonable amount of traffic going across the bridge at the moment, and certainly the river seems to be flowing pretty fast here, so I might have misspoken when I said it wasn't flowing as fast as last time. Bit of turbulence out there. Yeah, just down here was the first area that started flooding in my area. Looks like that restaurant over there is once again close to being flooded. So I saw them cleaning up down there the other day, so they will be very annoyed, I would imagine. Yeah, but this was the first bit of my my area that was flooded, but it looks not too bad at the moment. So they had that closed off pretty early, and that closed off pretty early, and that was flooded pretty early, although traffic was getting through. So not a problem at the moment. We'll see how it goes. It is about 7:30. I've just come back. Just went out to grab a hoi tod for dinner. Had a bit of a wander along the bank of the river before I ate, and the water's high. There are a couple of spots where it's lapping right at the edge, so if it still continues rising up until 2 o'clock when they say the peak's coming through, then I would say there would be a little bit of flooding at least. Everything on the streets operating normally. You know, places like 7-Eleven, and then I've got some sandbags around the front door to kind of mitigate any problems, I think. And there were one or two street stall people who were nervously looking over the fence towards the river to see how high it was. But yeah, so far no major disasters. There was one house along the back that was pumping running its stormwater out over the path into the river because its normal stormwater management system not working because the river's so high. And a bit of water lying around in a couple of the vacant properties along there. But so far it's close, but hasn't topped the bank yet. So theoretically, the peak is at 2 AM. Not sure I'll be awake to check it out then, but I'll see what it looks like in the morning. It is Friday morning, and things on my side of the river don't look too bad. The road is dry, there's a bit of water lying about, but overall not too bad. The other side of the river is a bit different. Looks like the bank has topped over on that side. But I'm going to have some breakfast and then I'll get out and have a bit of a look. Well, the road on my side of the river seems to be okay for the moment. But the bank on the other side has been topped. And as you can see, the bridge is closed. There were lots of people coming across it a minute ago. I think they're not letting as many people across now. But yeah, over the other side the bank's been topped, and the road over that side is flooded, and the properties on that side. You can see that some urgent work is being done to try and shore up this side of the bank. Lots of anticipation of a flood. There's a bit of water seeping through the sandbags down near my apartment building. We've been told that the river is going to recommence rising about midday today, which is about an hour away. And as you can see, it won't take much for this section of the river to be topped here. So Raj sent a message through earlier this morning. There's been some flooding in Chiang Road near the night market again. For the moment his shop hasn't been flooded, but if it continues to rise, I'm not sure if it's a guttering problem in Chiang or whether it's river water. I don't know about the Condos bar. I got a message saying that they were closing yesterday so that they could prepare for the flooding. I don't know if it's got up to them or not. So I might just head for home, I think, and wait it out. The news is that they're expecting another peak at about 1 AM in the morning. They've had backhoe in here most of the afternoon building up the banks in the hope of stopping some serious flooding by the look of it. There is a bit of water lying around from where the rain fell earlier this afternoon. But yeah, it's pretty high. They have sandbags blocking off the bridge, so presumably at some stage tonight they're anticipating the water will go over the bridge. And I think they're probably trying to protect the hospital a little bit. Doesn't seem to be a lot of panic in there though. So the stormwater's starting to back up onto the road that runs out the front of my place. The river hasn't broken its banks here yet, it's just that the stormwater's got nowhere to run, so it's backing up out of the system. Sorry, just getting my feet out of the way. Yeah, don't know how well you can see in that light level, but yeah, just around that corner that motorcycle's going around, or going through that one, that's where the hospital is, in my place, just over there. So it looks like it might be surrounded sometime tonight, I guess. It is, however, business as usual up past my place. It's a bit of an incline up here, so how far up it will get, I don't know. Guess we'll see. A few sandbags about, but mostly people just keeping on. Okay, this is the view from my balcony this morning. As you can see, there's a lot of water about, still flooded on the other side, even a bit worse I think. And on this side you can see the property next door is full of water, and indeed the road beyond it is covered in water. So it's official. I am surrounded. I am out and about, but I may not be about terribly much because, as you can see, the river has come up. All of my street has flooded. You could see from the shot from my balcony that it's gone right up that way, and it was already flooding that way when I was walking along that section last night. But the grounds of my condo seem to be high and dry at the moment. Could see from the pool area before that there's a little bit of flooding at the back, but I'm not sure if that was from the bank being topped or seepage or just storm water backing up. But yeah, all of the cars here look alright. Some of the ones I've seen down in the street were experiencing a few problems. Some of the areas that we were looking at yesterday would be pretty deep now. The other side of the river would be very deep, I think. Yeah, Spiro. Don't know if you can see it yet, but yeah, there's a bit of water in the back car park. It looks like it's just been seeping through from the levee work that they did yesterday, which is not kind of watertight, but it's holding back the bulk of the water by the look of it. So yeah, I was out walking along that path a couple of days ago, but it's been fairly chopped up by machinery, and now it looks like there's very little water on it. But I think the work they did yesterday certainly solved a problem of this going completely under. But yeah, my condo's in not too bad. Hotel next door I think will be okay. Oh yeah, it looks like the storm water is at its peak. So it's hard to say whether it's going up or down at the moment. But I'll go out through the hotel and see what I can see. At the hotel next door to me there's a queue of people waiting to be bussed to the airport, I guess. They've been using big trucks to load people in the back of and get them out to the airport. I think I saw somewhere else. Once again, the hotel here is high and dry. Don't know how long it'll take for the water to go down, if indeed it's at its peak. Hope so. The skies have cleared, so hopefully we won't get any more rain, but I think there's still a fair bit of water to work its way through the system. Down at the traffic lights there, which are not working, but it doesn't matter because there's no traffic going through. But the water down there is about waist deep. You can see the guy walking down there is kind of up to their knees, and it just gets deeper and deeper. The guys on the other side, don't know if you can see them, they're about thigh deep, but they're on the higher edge of the road. But it looks like the work they did sandbagging and adjusting the levee has done its work in protecting the hospital. Okay, the water level does look like it's gone down a little bit. It was lapping right at the edge of the road when I saw it before, and it looks like it's gone over a little bit here earlier this morning. I think the peak hit sometime between 1 and 2 this morning. and it looks like there has been a little bit of water over that side of the bridge, but nothing too high. That restaurant over the other side, right next to the bridge, I think will be in a little bit of trouble. Massive amount of debris has come through and been trapped on the bridge. Still churning through, but there's quite a bit collected there, and on the other side by the look of it. Yeah, and the water down this side is right up near the bridge. They've had to, that little tent structure was further down when I was here the other day, and they obviously had to move it because the waters came up. But yeah, a fair bit of rubbish has come across. Still flowing pretty quickly by the look of it. And there's still a little bit coming onto the bridge here. I think mainly because of the blockages. It's just washing on, and a fairly low rate. Yeah, without the work they did yesterday, this would have been top tier. And the water would be flowing across there. Still a bit of seepage coming through, but and maybe a bit from the rain that we had last night as well. But yeah, it would have been flowing down onto that road, and the hospital just across the road there would have been in much more trouble. Now that pipe there is coming from my condo. Looks like they're piping the water that got into the back area of the car park out back into the river. Piping a fair bit out too, by the look of it. Well, the water's flowing into the back car park from there, and then it's going into this drain here, and from there they're actually pumping it out into the river. So I think they're just trying to stop the car park from filling up. So never-ending battle. The river is still rising slowly. We've received word that there's another peak coming tonight, sometime between 12 and 2. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. At the moment, my condo building is still on dry ground, although they are pumping out water from the car park near the river. They're trying to protect the electricity supply to the building, so they just said that sometime tonight they might have to turn off the power, but we'll see. I'll probably know when I wake up tomorrow. A couple of bits of good news today. It appears that the pump and the hastily constructed levee extensions won the battle with the river last night, at least in terms of our condo car park, which means that we didn't lose the power last night, so that's good. And I could see from my balcony this morning that the water was starting to recede. A couple of the properties next door was one of them that was really covered yesterday is starting to clear out, and the one next to it looked like it had drained almost completely. The road in front of my place is clear of water. Not all of it, there are bits lying around. But it looks like, at least for now, that the floodwaters are receding. It will take a little while to clear out. Don't know how long before I can get across the bridge to Chiang Mai Road and up that side of the river. That's all still flooded over there, but it is going down there as well. So, some good news today. Looks like we've got fine weather for a few days at least, so hopefully it will hold not just here but in the entire catchment, and we can clear this floodwater out of Chiang Mai, and it will fairly rapidly recover a lot of damage, lots of things that will take a long time to recover, but life will go on pretty quickly once the waters start to clear. I noticed some debris floating past on the river this morning, and I thought this might be happening. So the sandbags are gradually making way, and they've started removing some of the debris that was caught on the bridge. So it looks like we are moving from disaster management and rescue where needed to recovery. So they got rid of a whole heap of that stuff, loosening it up and letting it go, hoping the water's flowing through the or under the bridge more successfully. So the shops on the other side of the bridge have the water's gone down there and it's cleared out of those, so they'll be doing all the cleanup they want to do and need to do. But yeah, it's a big job here. Just moving it from the other side to this side, and hopefully when they do that it'll wash downstream, as some of it is there already. That's already much lower than it was, so on the way. Still quite a bit to clear, but they're certainly getting through it quite quickly, and as I say, once they get all that out of the way, the water will start flowing through here. It's actually gone down quite a bit, so I believe that there's still some waters rising south of the city, but that was last night and early this morning. I don't know what it's doing now. Yeah, they're just clearing a channel out of there now, and then eventually it'll all be gone. There's still a bit of water on the road on that side of the bridge. I can't tell how much at the moment because there's a couple of big excavators in the way and I can't get down there. But yeah, the levels have gone down quite a lot. Indeed, the traffic lights just up past the bridge here that were still underwater late yesterday look like they might have cleared off. Yes, traffic's flowing pretty steadily through there. Still a bit of water lying about, but yeah, the traffic lights aren't functional yet, but the traffic's flowing pretty freely through there. So I'm just going to have a walk up here, see how far I might get. Then I'll come back for some lunch, and maybe tomorrow or the next day I'll be able to get into town and catch up with a few people and see how they're doing. But yeah, it's looking, it's drained quite considerably overnight. and it's a bit slippery in places, so I have to be careful. Well, I've made it a lot further than I thought I might. That's the Nampton craft beer bar, which I've had a drink in there once. A bit of road damage here, where the water's pushed through. Still some water coming out of those properties. There is water lying around along here in bits and pieces, but mainly water that people are siphoning out of their ground floors. And there's a fair bit of mud around, so every now and again you have to be careful. Well, you have to be careful all the time, because every now and then you step on a thick bit of mud and just your foot starts sliding out from underneath you. So that's the Gymkhana Club. Still some water lying around over there. So yeah, just here's mud that I'm talking about. As the cars go through, they're cleaning up the centre of the road quite efficiently. But yeah, all along this road people are starting to clean up and recover. Some are at the stage of, as I say, siphoning water out. Look at that, still lots of water coming through there. Getting to one of the low areas up here. But yeah, so all along here people are, some at the stage of siphoning water out of their properties, and some of them are getting the mud out, and one or two of them are open, mainly the ones that were a little bit higher up, I think. Just need to be careful, extra careful of cars. This is a narrow walking spot at the best of times. Anyway, we'll go further and see what we can see. This is the recent levee work that I showed you a couple of videos ago. It looks like it's done a reasonably good job. It's still holding back a fair bit of water, so as a consequence, this area of road is dry. I would say it went under before, but probably not as badly as it might have, because that wall was in place. Just heading past the Kawilla Gardens. The water's out of there, but there's still a fair bit of slush in there they'll have to clean up. Yeah, but I have got a lot further. I would have thought that I wouldn't have been able to get past here today, but so far so good. Well, just at the end of the Kawilla Gardens, and there is a little patch of water there, which will probably dry out by tomorrow, I suspect. So I should be able to get through here. We're getting close to the Iron Bridge now, so once this dries out, that'll probably be okay. But for me, that's as far as I'm going today. And I'm going to head back to my condo. The plan today is to try to get into the moated city. Thought I'd give it a go, given how close I got to the Iron Bridge yesterday. I'm actually on the other side of the river, which was a little bit more flooded than my side. Plenty of traffic going through. That doesn't mean there isn't water on the road somewhere. The good news is that the bridge near my place is fully opened, although there's a bit of water back that way. But up here seems okay. Plenty of mud about, and wet mud, so I have to be very careful with how I'm walking too. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Chiang Mai Road is passable. There are some spots where the water hasn't been gone long. You can still see it's very wet in places and lots of mud about. This was one of the spots that remained flooded after the night market was cleared out of water. Well, last time anyway. I don't know about this time because I wasn't on that side of the river this time. But yeah, it's fairly recently subsided here, but it is passable. Just got to watch out for slippery mud. Okay, I made it to Pantip, which looks like it's opened up. They were closed the week for the last flood, after the last flood, but they seem to be open now. I'd say there's still a bit of water on the road down there. That's down towards the river, and that was one of the first places that got flooded both times around. So given the traffic snarls, I think there's probably still a bit of water down there, but I'm not going that way. I'm heading into the moated city, and given that I'm here, it should be fairly plain sailing from now on in. Crossing fingers. I've moved inside the moat for a little while. I decided to move out of my apartment because the water ran out. They were having trouble getting the water through to our area. We had some in the tank on the top of our building, but it ran out last night, so I've moved into the moated city. I am staying at the Samataya Hotel inside the moat whilst I'm waiting for my water issues at my apartment to be sorted out. It's actually quite a nice hotel. I'm heading down to the river today just to see what it's like. I've actually been in the old city inside the moat for about 4 days now. Still some problems with water at my place, so I'm staying in the city for another couple of days. But yeah, so I'm going to head down to, well, towards the river, see how things are. Well, Chiang Mai Road seems to be largely operational. The top end near the moat is pretty well cleaned up. As you get down closer to the river, of course, there's still signs of sandbags and debris and little bits and pockets of mud. But the markets are open. Warrawat is open and running, and there's a fair bit of business being done there today. The river level has dropped dramatically to a much more normal level, but over the other side there's still a fair bit of work by those restaurants to recover fully, although a couple of them look like they're open. You may remember me filming here where the water was lapping right at the edge of this footpath. That was well before the first peak came through, and certainly well before the big peak, which would have washed all the way across here. You can see the river has returned to a more normal level now, although the nice grasslands that were down there on park area have been covered in mud. You don't know if you can see that seat down there, but that's a good foot of mud that's been deposited there. Somebody's been in to dig out the trees a bit to try and save them by the look of it. Taipei Road's looking pretty good too, but I think it's a bit of a tale of two cities at the moment. There's the areas that weren't flooded or that were lightly flooded that are up and running, as you get closer to the river, there was more damage obviously, so people are working their way through it. Here along Chiang Mai Road, it's a lot more cleared out than it was the other day when I was here, but still evidence of people cleaning and repairing and so forth. And of course, once you start getting into the more local areas, then they're still clearing out in there. I think they're just trying to make sure the economy doesn't collapse as well. So they're plugging away. If you're coming to Thailand and Chiang Mai in the near future, there's still plenty of it that you can see. Some of it's still in recovery mode, and they'll keep plugging away at that, so more and more will open up and be available. But it was a very big flood, very big indeed. And the sheer scale of it has just overwhelmed all of the services. They're working their butts off. Some of the infrastructure was damaged as well. I'm staying in the city, as you know, because the water was cut off at my building, and it hasn't gone fully back on yet. There's a little bit getting through, but there's still some more work to do there. So that's kind of hampered the recovery effort as well. And of course some of the roads are damaged. Some of them still have mud on them. But as I say, even here on Chiang Mai Road, which was really smashed, there are some shops that are open and some shops that look like they'll be open soon. I think the market still needs a bit of work here, but we're going onward in Chiang Mai, and certainly there's people who have lost a lot. So if you're coming to Chiang Mai, that will help. Spending a bit of money in Chiang Mai would be very useful, I think. I am back at my apartment. I actually got back yesterday. Things are back to normal. People are constructing. Don't know if you can hear. Yeah, but there's water, and the street appears to be largely back to normal. Still a few places to open, but most of the restaurants were open and the street was busy and people were going out about their business. So my neighbourhood looks to be okay. I think the water's still a bit dodgy. It's not at full strength, but it's coming through. On the way through, there's still a few areas that need cleaning off. They were cleaning the mud out of some of the gutters on Chiang Mai Road as I drove through in the tuk-tuk, and there's lots of rubbish and sandbags still to be picked up. Yeah, what they've done is they've cleaned the road off the road surface and left a lot of it in the gutters at the moment, but they're working their way through it. So still some areas that are you know, not particularly functional, but it was a very big flood, and the emergency services have been overwhelmed, and they've been working for about a week cleaning up, so things are slowly getting back to normal. The choke point in the river is now visible, so the water's decreased quite a bit, and hopefully the flooding is over. There's still a little bit of rainy season to go, but we haven't had any significant rain in about a week, so hopefully it is okay. Now, that was my experience of the two floods, one big flood and one very big flood in Chiang Mai. And as I say, for me, it wasn't a big deal because I have the resources to do what I need to do. Like when the water went out here, I could move, or you know, if I didn't feel like being surrounded by water, I could move to a motel. So for me, it wasn't terribly difficult. A lot of people have lost a lot of their belongings and a lot of their businesses. So if you are in Chiang Mai or you are coming to Chiang Mai in the near future, don't be afraid. There's still areas of it that are unscathed, and the areas that were affected are being fixed up. So don't be afraid of coming to Chiang Mai, and when you do, make sure you head down to the riverside areas and spend a bit of money where you can. And the areas that have been affected by the flood, it will be much appreciated to get those businesses up and going again and those family incomes coming through again. So yeah, so hopefully that's my last experience of flooding in Chiang Mai. I hope we don't see this on a regular basis. But as I say, it seems to be over for now.